And yet they can't answer the simple question, where are all the jobs? What do? You do fire them, and it's nothing personal. You just replace them with people who will do the job, who will listen to the people. Listen to me. Well, if you elect the common sense conservative candidates across Florida and across our other 49 states, 10 days from now, yes, we will have taken the gavel away from Nancy Pelosi, and America will start to get back on the right track. Now, we were in California last week, in Florida this week. We're traveling across the country to help the RNC and to help the GOP, because this election, as I say, is so important. And you would not be here today if you did not know, too, that our country is at a tipping point. People know that something has gone terribly wrong with our government and our country because of government policies and votes taken recently in these last 21 months of a failed agenda. Our government and our country has really gotten off track. But people also know that there is nothing wrong with America that we can't fix with the good old-fashioned election. It's times like these that we can look for inspiration from someone like Ronald Reagan and what it is that he did, that he applied to make America prosper. The thing I love best about him, he didn't waste time always looking backwards and pointing fingers and placing blame. No, he was rock solid, he was optimistic, and he was unwavering in his acknowledgement of the strength and the goodness of the American people. He understood the power of the individual, and he understood that government is not the answer. It's we, the people, individuals, our families, our small businesses. It's you. He understood that, and he understood this country because he believed in us as individuals. He believed in us, the little guy, and he said it with all due respect when he referred to us as the little guy. Reagan said, you can't be for big government, big taxes, and big bureaucracy, and still be for the little guy. And we little guys, just hardworking, pro-family, middle-class, job-creating Americans, that's who Reagan could relate to. So freedom-loving little guys, that's who I think of all of us. How about we make November 2nd Freedom Day and we take it back for the little guy? Because, you know, really, we don't ask for much. We ask for a good job in our own hometown so that we can take care of ourselves, secure ourselves, and take care of our own families. We ask for a fiscally and a physically secure nation. We ask for an honest government that is on our side and won't be riding our back. And we ask for leaders with servants' hearts and with ears to hear what the people are saying. We are not asking for much. We're asking for leaders who won't mortgage our kids' future with trillions more in debt. And we ask for leaders who understand that raising federal taxes in a time of economic woe is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe to bankrupt our country. This is a recipe for disaster, what we're seeing coming out of Congress and out of the White House right now. Ultimately, what it's going to cause is the people relying on a big centralized government to provide for them. Now, this is important. It's why we're calling for that do-over, because some of our current leaders, they do understand that last point, and yet they're doing it to you anyway. So we ask for leaders who will recognize what our foundation is in America, that America is the most generous country on earth, the most prosperous, the safest, and united under God. We are an exceptional country, and that is nothing to apologize for. No alternative. But we've got a president today, as we talk about no need to apologize, we've got a president today who's getting pretty good at apologizing. The problem, of course, is that he's apologizing to all the wrong people. So Mr. President, with all due respect, next time that urge to apologize kind of tingles up the left's leg, I have some suggestions for who it is who needs to hear that apology. How about for the 15 million Americans who are out of work today? How about for the over 1 million Floridians who can't find a job today? But wait, wasn't the stimulus package, wasn't that guaranteed promise to create all these jobs, right? Remember that? Let's find out what it was that we actually got for those stimulus dollars. What did taxpayers really get for that nearly $1 trillion package, besides more debt? Here's a couple of examples, okay? In California, shared this last week, California Academy of Science, $2 million to photograph, capture, study ants in East Africa. Yeah. Hey, the lead investigator of the study justified it by saying, we've all run into ants. Now it is time that we start listening to them. Now this is the Congress that we cannot get to listen to us, but they're gonna spend millions of your tax dollars listening to the ants in East Africa, okay? Local here in Florida, Tallahassee, got $3.5 million for a turtle tunnel. A turtle tunnel that will help the turtles and the alligators get to the other side, okay? But, you know, how do you actually get them to obey that and use the tunnel? Where I come from, animals don't read the street signs, you know. Only the ones we can eat. Another one here in the Sunshine State, you guys, another one. The grant to study the effects of excessive alcohol use on a mouse's motor skills. Yeah, I know. Didn't know Mickey had a drinking problem, did ya? I'm not an expert, but I assume a drunk mouse is much like a drunk man, and it's not pretty. Where you give them enough Jack Daniels and they start wobbling around. It's not pretty. Could save a few million there. Makes you wonder, how do they come up with this stuff? And you can't make this stuff up. It seems like they took all the crazy ideas in Pelosi's inbox and they dumped it out and they added it up and said $787 billion. Then what do we call it? Stimulus. Yeah, bingo, because nothing will stimulate this economy like a turtle tunnel in Tallahassee. I mean, randomly stuffing a $100 bill in a Cracker Jack box may be more stimulating the economy. At least the people who score that bill would invest it in a real business that could create real jobs for Americans. But don't give them any ideas. No Cracker Jack stuffing with bills, no. Seriously, though, all that new debt, it did not work. And they now are preaching to you that it did work and that we need additional stimulus packages. Oh, the deception. Oh, my goodness. And please, God, don't let anyone tell Obama what number comes after $1 trillion, or we'll be heading that direction. Friends, the president is now telling us that we're not thinking straight because of all the fear and frustration that Americans have. He claims facts, science, and arguments aren't winning the day because we're not thinking straight, quote unquote. Well, you know, Mr. President, you've got it right on one point there. We are afraid, knowing that your economic policies are driving us off a cliff, and knowing that your fundamental transformation of America is turning into a nightmare. This is not the America that the rest of the people want. This is not the America the patriots fought and died for and are still dying for today. This is not the America that Floridians fight for, to protect, to persevere through every day. Yes, we are frustrated because there is no fact or science or sound argument behind the Obama-Pelosi-Reid arguments, behind their policies for our economy. Now, he admits now, our president, that he knew all along that now there was no such thing as a shovel-ready project. Talk about deception, because he had said that there were, of course. Now, we know what he'd been shoveling all along, and it wasn't asphalt. Yeah.